Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and good evening, and it's match day, another match day ticket with me, the Governor. Welcome in, Nicky. I'm glad you could make it. Hopefully Town will deliver 3 points for us. Mike Brown, 4-3-3 again. So that's no shots on target for the first half. Only Mike could take 4-3-3 and turn it into a positive. I don't know. So I am joined by two wonderful people this evening, one of which is late, as always, and one of which is waiting to come into the wings. It's an interesting lineup. Paul Birchnall's sees similarities between us and Sunderland, and I've got some score predictions there. Right, let's bring in our first contributor for the evening. He's, of course, Steve. How you doing?
Hello, I'm very well. Yourself?
I am very well, thank you, sir. Yes, I'm excited actually, because is this the last stand of Paul Lambert, or is this the turning point where you look back in 20 years' time and you say, "Do you remember that time?"
I really hope it's his last hurrah. It's I know obviously we're going to get to it, but that lineup he's put out screams of a last hurrah to me.
I don't know. I think that's more of a manager getting his players back fit. Let's not forget, he's not had a lot of this squad fit. And I don't want to keep sounding like I'm a Paul Lambert apologetic, but he hasn't had players fit, has he, Steve?
No, you can't obviously deny that. You've got the likes of, obviously, Kane Vincent-Young, who's been missing for about 10 or 12 years. That's what it feels like. Cole Skews, obviously. I know, obviously, Cole doesn't offer us too much now, but, people he's not had fit for most of the season. But I am surprised that Wolfenden's back, to be honest. But obviously, it turns out there's reasons behind that.
Nciala's out with a hamstring. Yeah. Well, we'll get into the team. Before we do so, we've got to bring in, of course, Mr. Nationwide himself, Mr. Budget Hotel.
Wake up to the wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. I'm Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
And Mr. Moles, welcome in. Let's find out
this time.
If that's true or not. Christopher Woodman, welcome in. So that's the team. Sunderland today, obviously. At home, we have Holy in goal. Chambers, Wolfenden, McGuinness, Ward, Downs, Dozell and Nolan are the midfield three. Thomas making his full debut. Edwards and Jackson. We are live on Sky, and our record on Sky is not great. Obviously, the last time we were on Sky, we got beat by Swindon 3-2. Bench of Cornell. Baggett makes the bench. A young lad who's been eyed up by Leeds and West Ham. Good to see him on the bench. Kenlock, Bishop, Judge, Sears and Aaron, no goals. Drinan. So, where do we want to start? I think we want to start with that front three, personally. Caden Jackson's playing up front on his own. Neil, is that a good thing for Ipswich Town today?
Not if he's on his own, no. If the other two can get amongst him and create some goodness amongst them, then it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm quite excited, Steve, about that front three, because you've got pace, and that's something that we've not said, I feel, in like forever with Ipswich Town's front attacking players. We've always been crying out for pace. Thomas, Edwards, and Jackson. That's pace for days.
Definitely. There's a few comments I just want to say. Thanks for the praise on the top. It's my favourite Ipswich top of all time. One of the first ones I ever owned. Love it. That front three, it's brilliant. You got Jackson, obviously very, very quick. Good to see him back. Thomas, great to see him making his first start. I think he definitely warranted it after that performance last time out. He did look very, very good when he came on. And Edwards, hopefully we're seeing Edwards get back to his best, because he looked amazing at the first part of the season. Definitely one of our players of the season for me at the start of the season. He's looked a little rustier in previous games, so I hope he's now starting to get back to his best.
But another player, I've got Bishop in the lineup, I think it should be Nolan. I'll change that in a second. But another player that has been injured, because if you look at the lineup, even with Bishop or Nolan in there, and I'll change that in a second, but take Thomas away, injuries. Though, four of those even Downs was injured. So a lot of injuries have really not helped the fluidity of the team, the chemistry of the team. and the manager.
Can you really use that excuse though? Because last season he rotated and it didn't really affect us that badly.
Well, we went from leading the way to finishing 11th, Neil. I don't know how badly you want to be affected.
But that was at the point he then decided to listen to us and keep the same team.
Very true, very true. Can Jackson do it up front on his own? That's the question in the chat, and that's the question I've got in my mind today. I've got to be honest. I feel I want to bring a bit of tactics into it. Jackson's role is a bit of a different target, not a target man, a lone striker, if you like, than a normal lone striker. I think his role today will be to try and get in behind the channels of Sunderland. And in turn, Sunderland, I think Paul Lambert's thinking will be this. Sunderland will drop off, which will allow space in midfield for Andre to get on the ball, Nolan to get on the ball, Thomas to get on the ball, Edwards to get on the ball. So I think that's really what he's going to be planned today, isn't it, Neil? It's going to be that channel chaser in behind, try and threaten with some pace.
That's probably what he will end up doing. But ideally, you'd want Thomas, Nolan and Edwards to be driving up the pitch, and he can play on the shoulder and they can play little balls through to him so he can, get one-on-ones with a keeper. But we know that won't happen.
The thing is, Steve, I've seen Jackson play up front on his own effectively. I want to say it was actually Peterborough last year where we nicked a draw, but he won us a penalty in the second half there. It was effective as that lone striker playing on that shoulder.
We've seen spurts of him being able to do it up front on his own because he's got the pace, which is obviously it's awesome. It's lightning fast, but he's so much more effective in a 4-4-2. And I don't know obviously how he's going to get on with Luke Thomas, for example, but I'm interested to see obviously him more already than Caden. But I know that every now and then Caden is able to show us what he can do on his own, but 9 times out of 10 he's much better in a 4-4-2.
Yeah, but you can't play a 4-4-2 because you haven't got a second striker. You've got Sears. It's Freddie Sears at this point.
Well, you've got originally a striker. You've got Drinan, who is not exactly a goal.
Oh, behave! He's not a striker. Yeah, we're more of strikers than Drinan is at this point.
Well, yeah.
I've got as many goals with less opportunities than Aaron Drinan.
I'm not saying he's a goal machine. He's only a young lad, but he's unfortunately the games he's been given, he's not really proved himself in the way you'd want him to. So I can understand him being dropped tonight, which is a shame because in pre-season he looks okay. And I did think it was a shame he obviously got that injury which kept him out for so long, but he just doesn't seem to have hit the ground running when he came back. So
the big problem for me is though, the big problem for me though is we've got Jackson in the team. He's then a good striker. You then look to the bench that if things don't go as you want, let's improve the front line. Oh wait, who is there?
Well, this is it. And Curtis says we've got to stop knocking Drinan. It's Lambert and Evans' fault. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it is not Aaron Drinan's fault. He is put into that position. But he is. And when he is, you then expect a certain level of quality. I do anyway, and I'm old-fashioned. I like my strikers to score goals. And as Neil says, look at that bench. You're not looking at a lot of goals off there, really. So if you go a goal down, you may be fearful. Is this 4-4-2 a red herring? Because people keep calling for 4-4-2. Is it a red herring? Is 4-4-2 in today's football really as important as it used to be? Or can you be as effective with the right personnel with a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 or even a 4-5-1?
If we were good enough with if we were good enough with these players we've got, then if you basically at least one of those midfielders should be able to link up with Jackson, so therefore you could have your two up top at some point.
Yeah, I
it's
think
just the ability of the players to actually play out of that system.
Yeah, was it last season he switched to having that sort of midfield diamond, and for a couple of games we actually did all right with that, and we looked okay with that. So I think the formation we've got, if you've got the right people and if they're being managed properly, you could do okay with it. You haven't got to go 4-4-2, but that's just old school. I like a 4-4-2.
Radio something I suggested in today's lineup is a 4-2-2-2. Do you know what? It'd be classic Town to buy a winger and play him up front. Like we just do not like playing round pegs in round holes. We haven't done for about 20 years. Like, why would you buy a player who's a winger? And I get the thinking, maybe Thomas and Jackson up the front together, but that I'm going to stick with what I've got on the screen there because I'm hoping that's what it is. Because I think with the right personnel, you can overload teams in this division. And you can create mismatches and ask them questions. The issue has been for me, he's not had a fit team of quality. I'm not saying, a fit team of. He's had players coming in and out at different points of the season, and we've yet to have Norwood fit, Jackson fit, etc., etc. Go on.
I was going to say, you are forgetting, of course, the most talented person in our team, Sir Cole Skews.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I see what you mean.
I hope the Nolan we see today is the one that came off the bench from last match. That was good. Thomas looked lively as well. Let's hope Dazelle is the good Dazelle. And let's hope Wolfenden comes out with a bit more confidence because he's looked a little bit
let's touch on
unconfident of late.
Andre for a bit because last time we were on together, the three of us, was last year, 2020. We haven't played a Tuesday night game in a while. And Andre was part of the untouchables. Okay, if you mentioned the name Andre and you said anything negative, you were jumped upon, right? Maybe rightly, maybe wrongly. I'm not going to say which is which. But now there's big question marks over Andre in this football team. And people are starting to question why he's still being consistently picked. So is it time Andre had to start delivering games where he controlled the game a little bit?
Andre's a bit tricky. You can see what he's trying to do a lot of the time. He sees these passes, but his teammates don't always see them. So possession will lose a lot of chances because Andre when he makes a fantastic pass, it is a fantastic pass. And you'll think, that's incredible. How did he do that? But there's all these other times where he'll see this fantastic pass, which if his teammates had seen what he was going to do, would be awesome. But they don't see what he's trying to do, and then it'll go to the other team, and then counter-attack or something like that. So he's always a bit hit and miss. I like the lad, I really do, but it's a bit hit and miss with him at the minute.
Do they not train enough together? Because surely if they were in and around Dazelle playing these passes during training, it's like playing football with your best mate and knowing how he's going to play the ball, because that's what he always does. Do our players not do that?
Well, with injuries like they are, you can't obviously get a consistent training session going, I'd have thought, because you've got a consistent revolving door of who's got a dead leg, who's out for a long term, etc. Neil, through your playing days, have you ever played with a player who can do the sublime but then also not do the basics? Like, have you played with a player that is so good in their mind, the simple stuff they just struggle with because they take it too nonchalantly?
No, I can't say I've ever played alongside someone like that. They're either basically they can be phenomenal, but you'll be carrying them for the rest of the game. I've had them, but then they'll just pop up with a goal. So from the halfway line or anything, basically, and you'll forgo the fact that they barely moved from where they were, but they've won you the match, so it's fine. But we don't have enough of those. But that's not Dazelle.
No,
I think that can't do the basics. Surely you're just saying it's crap.
Well, I think if you took 10 minutes, 15 minutes of a game to watch Andre, and this is what I've done, he does the one pass that Steve says is really great, and it is really great. The issue becomes with Andre is the 5 or 6 basic 4 to 7 yard passes, which in his mind is easy because he is Andre Dazelle. The issue is he takes it too easy and it's given away and the ball's turned over. So I think if you took 10 minutes to watch him tonight on Sky...
To be fair to him, though, I'm
sloppy.
better at a long ball than I am a short pass.
Yeah. But when you're in midfield now, it's those shorter balls that you consistently have to get right because one interception...
And especially in a 3-man midfield.
Yeah, and when you're the deepest man.
Yep. Because
any pass cut out is normally straight away onto your back to that have split for a pass, and then they're in recovery mode. Keon Leonard's made a great point about Aaron Drinan. If Drinan had a partner, it wouldn't matter. He's too slow, loses all his battles, and has no ability on the ball whatsoever. This is the point I really liked. Also, we were linked with Clark Harris, 13 goals this year, Wyke, who's top goal scorer for Sunderland, and Danny Graham. How did we end up with Hawkins, who sadly isn't playing?
Because all the rest were out of our price range.
Out of our price range, or didn't quite meet what the owner wanted to put in? Because he is a very rich man.
Did the wallet have to be opened? If so, it was too much.
That does always scream Ipswich Town. Right. How serious were the links? Well, they're links. Unless you're the player himself or the guy's agent, you're never going to know truly what goes on in the corridors of Portman Road. But he did play last week with a bit of urgency about him, didn't he, Steve? You know, the way he took that penalty was a guy who wanted to score. Now, he didn't.
Yeah.
Because he took it it was almost like too much to the lad. You know, he really desperately wanted to make sure this ball hit the back of the net. And
that was brilliant. I was glad we didn't have him after he did that.
I think Mick Mills said it. He said, why is he trying to stick it in the top? You know, you've got Thomas Holy, who's so tall. It takes him a while to get down. But yeah, too quick, too powerful. But I mean, any of them would have been better than Hawkins, to be honest.
Now, I had Cornell in goal, much to the delight of the chat, but Holy is in fact in goal. Chambers keeps his place following the interview at the weekend, with Wolfenden coming in for an injured Toto. So, Wolfenden and McGuinness, Sunderland. They've been hit and miss together as a partnership. Toto McGuinness has been hit and miss as a partnership. What do we want to start seeing them two play well together? Obviously, but what needs to happen for that to happen? Because something's not clicking with any partnership at the moment. And what is it? What's going on?
Isn't it? I think the only two you can really guarantee will start are going to be Chambers and Ward. I mean, Chambers obviously didn't lose his place despite his comments last week, last Saturday. You've had Wolfenden, McGuinness, obviously Nsiala. None of them really. I mean, Wolfenden has been better, but none of them really fill me with confidence. I mean, Nsiala scares the hell out of me every time he's running at a person because you know it's going to end in a penalty. And McGuinness, I don't know. There's something I'm not 100% sure about with McGuinness.
I called them the Rugrats last time I was live. Phil and Lil. There's something about the two that doesn't seem to click. But then, as I said, Toto and McGuinness didn't seem to click. Maybe it's McGuinness. I don't know. Apparently, Keith Andrews on Sky has said Paul Lambert has underachieved. I don't know about that. Amy says it was twaddle. Okay, so let's break that. Let's reverse that. If Clark Harris and Wyke was available, Danny Graham as well, why didn't we go in for him? Right? If those links were rubbish, why didn't this club end up with a fucking proven goal scorer?
Didn't we consider Danny Graham was a bit past it anyway, and we
but
didn't
it's just
want
us, isn't it? Like I didn't want Danny Graham, but I would have taken an injured Danny Graham over a fully fit Ollie Hawkins. Like, at least Graham's gone to places and scored goals consistently. Do you know what I mean? Like we're lacking goals, and Keith Andrews can say we're underachieving. Are we? We've got no top goal scorer in the League One top goal scorer list. We haven't got a player that's creating goals in the top assists anywhere. Are we overachieving?
At one point, our top goal scorer, I think it still is, was Guion Edwards, wasn't it? With 5 goals. Doesn't say a lot for the strikers when it's a winger who's got our most scored goals, or our top goals. There's apart from maybe Norwood when he's on fine form, there's no one on our team that when they get the ball, you think there's a goal coming. You know, there was in the past, maybe like the Waghorn, Daryl Murphy sort of thing.
Mm.
There's not a striker like that. And like you say, Clark Harris, Graham, whoever, you've got these proven goal scorers and we end up with Ollie Hawkins. That's not right.
It isn't, but he's out injured tonight, so he's not going to be a part of it. So, let's move on to some score predictions. It's 37 minutes. It's live on Sky at 1:45. What are we saying for our bold score predictions?
There's Amy. I miss Waggy. He was a good one.
Yeah, me too. He was a great striker.
Good old Waggy. 2-0 Sunderland.
Fucking hell, Steve. Be positive,
Sorry.
man. Dennis Edward. Andrew's making the same mistake as many of our fans. This squad is vastly overrated. We've got Dow at 2 and Jonathan Hammond 3-1 Town. Callie's gone 2-0 Sunderland. Josh 2-1 Town. Loving some positivity. Neil, are you going to go for a win for Town or a Sunderland win?
I'm going 2-1 for Town.
2-1. Good man. Right. If we win tonight, how long does Paul Lambert have left? Because the papers are after him, right? So the papers have finally come out and obviously said that it's not good enough. So
Midway through next season.
Midway through next... Really? So, okay, if we lose tonight, does he go immediately? Does he go tomorrow? Is he a Paul Jewell watching the DVD? Or, with the club backing him in the statement, do you feel he's here for the longer term still?
The club have got to say that, though, haven't they? They can't come out and say, yeah, we're having our doubts as well. Yeah, they're going to come out and say, yeah, we do. We believe in Paul. They're not going to come out and say, yeah, you're right. Do one.
Even if we lose, I think he'll still be here till pretty much the end of the season.
I've said April, where Dyer comes in, does a good job because he's playing teams like MK Dons, Wimbledon, Northampton, Swindon. No disrespect to those teams, but they're teams we should be beating anyway. And maybe tries to give a fresh optimism for the season ticket renewals. I just feel, even the club statement, you're right, they had to say something. But if plans were afoot for a change, you could have said, we are disappointed with the newspaper's position, but the club has no comment at this time. We have said all we need to say in regards to our manager previously. Because previously they've said they back him. You could have been a little bit ambiguous if things were afoot. To come out and say categorically, kind of, doesn't matter.
But didn't they say they were back in Hurst? And then, then he went.
But then, how many times have you got a backup manager? That's what I just think. With no fans at the club, like tonight, for example, the Sky cameras are there, but they don't really have a lot of. There's no Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, is there, Neil, sitting in the studio pointing out where Paul Lambert's done it wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like the Sky cameras are there, but it'll be sort of Billy Basic, if you like, sort of coverage. It won't. Do you agree with that, Neil?
We're normally crap when we're on Sky anyway, aren't we? So,
Fuck you,
the
Neil,
thing
you're
is, though,
happy.
with being on Sky, he's got nowhere really to hide, because if he comes out, like with Peterborough, if he comes out and says we played great and he couldn't be proud of the lads, and we did play like total crap, then most people would be like, oh, okay, fair enough. But on Sky, you're probably going to get more watches. And if he comes out and says, oh, we played well and we lost 3-0, you've got so many more people saying, hang on a minute, no, you didn't. Played rubbish.
Yeah, well, I think Nicky's right. I can't see the club getting rid. It's all about money, and it's going to cost too much. However, still holding hope for a clause in the contract to get rid end of season. And that's why I think April, because I think once it's mathematically confirmed we can't reach the playoffs, I think he'll go like that, overnight. I think it'll be Paul Lambert been relieved of his duties, with Kieran Dyer taking interim effect and Brian Clew as his assistant. That's what I see. And then I see this hope. I see Marcus trying to ride this wave of optimism where Dyer wins 4 or 5, possibly 6 games against lower League One teams, but fans start to believe that Dyer's the man and this extra legend's going to come back and we're going to ride the wave into next season. Whether it happens
am I the
or
only
falls...
person that doesn't want him?
I don't want Kieran Dyer in charge at this point. Maybe at the end of the season, when it's clearer upon contracts and things, potentially. I still think he's a little bit too young for the role, even with under 23 experience, because we all slate the under 23s and then we all suddenly say he's doing really well. Well, hang on, you can't again cherry pick. Is it good level or is it not a good level? Because it ain't a good level. You can't really use it for experience, can you? I don't think.
No.
That's just my opinion.
Dyer would be great in a sort of, he's a club legend.
Lampard's available again.
Lampard's around. Dyer would be great in sort of, if you look at it from like a really rose-tinted sort of romantic sort of view, like he's a club legend. It'd be great to have a club legend taking this club to the Championship and wherever. But realistically, you're going to want a manager who's got League One experience. If we're still in League One, which we probably will be, you're going to want a League One experienced manager, and you're going to want someone with better things under his belt than Kieran Dyer.
But again, it depends on the plan And this is where you Marcus Evans for an events planner needs to get better PR, because if you come out in the summer and sell the fans on a plan, on a vision, okay, where you say, look, we're gonna go younger, so Baggett, maybe not Kenlock, but Baggett, Downs, Dozell, we'll keep some of the longer players, but we're going to go younger and build, and maybe not even reach the top 6 next season, but it'll be about a top 10, then a top 6, then a promotion. A bit like they do under Burley and Sheepshanks, that 5-year plan. If you sell the fans on a vision, right, so you're seeing Idris El Mizani and not Alan Judge, for example, fans will get behind it. But at the moment, they're telling us fans, we want to go up, and then they're bringing us Ollie Hawkins and Aaron Drinan.
I like how you say not going to make top 6. You mean again?
But I would accept that if I could see the vision and I was being told clearly, look, we're getting younger, we're betting young players through, we're growing as a team. If we get top 6, brilliant, but it's more about getting young blood into the team.
Evans could come out and say whatever he likes. He's basically never done what he's said previously, so what's the point?
But this is it, because he's... Go on, Steve.
Sorry, I was going to say, like you were saying, that's a brilliant point. If he comes out, I mean, Amy's just commented there, Mogger. I'd love Mogger in charge, that'd be great. One of my favourite sound players, to be honest. But if Dyer, for example, if it was Dyer and he said, right, we're going to aim for a top 10 position this year because we've got a lot of young kids in, realistically, we're not going to be challenging for promotion. We're going to build around this team. Then you think, all right, fair enough. We're not going to expect promotion. But what the squad have been saying, what Lambert's been saying, we're going to go. We've got a great squad here. So the fans are then thinking, great, we're going to go straight back up.
Yeah, they want top 2. Yeah,
it's a failure.
Absolutely. And you've got to turn something around, because like today's news, for example, Idris El Mizani is being chased by Brentford. People then say, well, why isn't he playing for us?
He should be.
Well, quite bluntly, he's not playing for us because the manager is in win now mode. He's in, I've got to win or I'm sacked. There's no long term for me. So I'm playing for today, not for tomorrow. Whereas if Dyer, for example, or any manager who had this long term vision and the owner had sold the fans on this long term plan, you'd be seeing players like Mizani play, because it's all about growing. It's not about getting it today or I'm not here tomorrow. It's about, I know I'm here next year, so I'm going to grow that team and build something. And we'll see. But anyway, right, kickoff's imminent. So we're back at half-time, and then we're back at full-time with Love, with Care. We will see you then.